Hello, everyone. If this is the first time you're seeing me, I am the co-founder of Purple Lotus. My name is Cher, and we found that directories are confusing, and so we're making that first step in getting help easier. And so today I'm joined here with Will from Strive Counselling, and Will has been an early supporter of Purple Lotus from day one. He's an incredible therapist and a leader, and so it makes sense for him to be the very first podcast guest. Will, can you tell us a bit more about yourself?
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, Share. And I think it's such a great platform to talk about some of these things that we're about to discuss. And for all the work that you do, I think it is incredible that we are creating this platform, or that you're creating this platform to allow for higher accessibility and availability, right? Because it's kind of hard to know where to start. A little bit about myself, as thank you for the kind words. I am the director and counselor at Strive Counselling. And a lot of my work is centered around working with a sort of a general population of clients. And a little bit more, if I was to go into a little bit more of a focus, I tend to work with men of non-Western backgrounds. And recently, as of late, given my own personal life, I've been working with a lot of fathers and families. So that has in itself been very rewarding. And then the other area of work that is a recent passion of mine is sports psychology and mental performance. So, predominantly working with athletes, but also working with anybody who feels like they're, about to engage in some sort of performance, right? Whether it's a, high stakes presentation or acting or anything like that. So, yeah, a little bit of a spread in terms of my work there. Um, so that's in a nutshell, a little bit about the professional me.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Will. That was a great introduction. Will is also a father, a new father.
Yeah, I mean, I've been a dad. I'm a dad of three girls.
Okay.
Recently had twins, so new father again.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, what's something about being a therapist, Will, that surprised you once you started working with clients?
Yeah, I think I mean there were so many aspects of this that I had ideas about and then were completely shattered. Then I thought I had another idea again, and then those notions were completely shattered. So I think this doing this work, in my view, if you're doing it right, there should always be some sort of surprises because I think surprises are opportunities for learning. But when I started working with clients, what was surprising is, just the grace that clients had in terms of counselors just not needing to know all the answers, right? And
Hmm.
so, um, it, and this was something that I had to work on for myself was, there's this reflex that I had that I needed to, be right on the money. I needed to be able to read their minds. I needed to fix them. If they brought a problem, if they're suffering,
Yeah.
I needed to, make sure to address that right away. But I think clients just naturally, generally have this grace of like, hey, you know what? You're a human being as well, right?
Mm.
So sometimes there might be things that we try and it might not work, but you know what? It's not a testament or anything to like your inability as a counselor, right? So I think um, clients reflecting sort of that kindness and grace that they had allowed me to reflect that kindness and grace towards myself, right? So that was a very pleasant surprise when I first started counseling. Was that I was I tend to lean towards that being an anxious type of person, and then working on that anxious part of myself to kind of quiet that down a little bit. And it was very helpful to get that sort of like indirect feedback from clients and through a lot of my supervision, of course. So yeah, there's no need to be absolutely on the money, no need to be perfect, right? When you're a counselor.
Yeah, yeah. That's really beautiful, Will. Like I like the way you describe how like you have grace for the clients and the clients also have grace for you. It's like this very like relationship based healing as well.
Absolutely. It's a person to person interaction at the end of the day. It is a professional one, but it's a human to human interaction.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. And you briefly hinted that you're supervising newer therapists. And
Yeah.
so for a lot of newer therapists, there's a lot of like anxiety around pricing. So I'm curious to hear from your perspective, why is pricing so emotionally difficult for therapists?
Yeah. I'll speak from my own perspective and also from uh, the collective experience and thoughts from my own team. So, but what I think was a struggle is the dissonance between certain core values that are at play, right? So, as an example, big core values that I carry and naturally so Strive Counselling carries is accessibility and availability, right? I've referenced that before. It is incredibly difficult for clients already to access services, to know where to even start, and then hey, you get slapped with this massive bill per hour of like, hey, I'm struggling with I don't know, maybe my relationship or career or school, and what I gotta pay like upwards of like 175 $200 sometimes for like to sit with a counselor for an hour. It's a tough pill to swallow, especially given the economic climate, right?
Mhm.
So, there are these values that I have, which is like, I want, if I could, I'd give this to everybody for free, right? But on the other hand, it's sort of this like, I also have my life. I have needs. I have wants, right? And now, definitely a family to support. So there's that incongruence of certain values here, where it's like, what does that mean for availability if I start to charge, and then this creates a barrier for clients, right?
Mhm.
So again, just speaking from my perspective here of why this has been, pricing has been a difficult thing for me to decide. Um, Now, this is where it can really come into play based on clinic to clinic, but there are sliding scale options that are offered.
Mhm.
Right? And so, like, of course, that is something that we offer as well. And um, even within the sliding scale, it's a gray area. Like, do you base it off of the a percentage of the client's income? Do you base it off of their circumstances? And then if it is based off of circumstances, how exactly, do you kind of like measure that? Because every client's circumstances are incredibly unique, right?
Mhm.
So, yeah, I think at the base of it is sort of this clashing of core values. We as counselors, I mean, again, speaking for myself, I, as a counselor, I want to do good for my clients. I wish that I could offer this to everybody, and that everybody could just access this for free. Very much like if you have a cough, you just call up and make an appointment with the doctor, and you can walk in, right? Yeah, so that's I think where I stand with why I feel this is such a difficult process for some counselors when it comes to pricing.
Yeah. And so, my next question for you, well, you kind of touched upon this a little bit already, but how do you personally get over the guilt of charging what you're worth?
Yes. This I have to really credit the wonderful team that I work with, and also supervision, right, from my mentors and stuff like that. But um, it's really turning the focus not just on the clients, but also towards yourself, because like I said, we're one of the pieces of this whole, counseling experience, right? We are the
Mhm.
therapists, we are the ones that are providing the service. And so when I reflected on me and then looked at, the journey that I had to take to get to the point of where I am, uh, there's incredible value to that.
Mhm.
Um, in a way, to underprice would be kind of dismissing the work, the time, the energy, everything that I've poured into being the therapist that I am today. And it's, things like getting actual training and certification, right? Um,
Mhm.
it's in the thousands and thousands, perhaps every year, depending on the trainings. Like some trainings you're paying, like almost like $5,000, right?
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, and so those are sort of like the major ones. Um, it's a lot of money and a lot of our time that is invisible to clients. They come to sessions and they see us, and then it's like, oh, what? I'm paying you this much for the hour, but it's the
Mhm.
invisible work that I think was really helpful for me to kind of reflect on and say, you know what, gosh, this is what makes every counselor sort of like stand out in their own way, getting their own training, right? Putting in the extra work, or I should not even the extra work. I think this is work that should be done anyway for
Mm-hmm.
an ethical therapist to continue their practice. I think the obvious parallel that I would draw is photographers or videographers, right? They show up and then they charge, I don't know how much money they charge, but they show up for the gig and people are like, oh my gosh, like you charge this much, but you're only here for 2 hours. And it's like, well, think about all the equipment that I had to invest in. Think about all the time that I'm in the background editing. Think about all the software that they had to purchase for that. Think about, maybe the classes, the courses, and everything that they took so that they
Mm-hmm.
could take pictures and shoot videos the way that they do, right? So it's the same thing for therapy. There's all this invisible work here, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so recognizing that, reflecting on yourself in your journey, reflecting on my journey, that was what in a way has really helped. And I think having a wonderful team to kind of discuss pricing, because when I say I'm a team practice, I really mean that I'm a team-based practice. Like major decisions, I always ask my team, hey, what does everybody here think? How do you think we should go about this? So every decision that we
Mm-hmm.
make, it's very intentional, especially when it comes to clients. And we've changed our prices a couple of times, right? But there's always, we take everything into account and we make sure that we all move forward, feeling pretty good about it. So, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
again, lots of credit to my team for helping me make myself feel like, hey, you know what we're charging is actually, it's intentional and it's of value. So,
Yeah, yeah, that's great. And I like the analogy with like photography and like as you mentioned, like therapists do a lot of behind the scenes work. There's like the admin work, there's also like taking the notes, sending the extra resources to clients, and also for like clinic owners, managing the clinic. Um, and so I think you probably have the answer to this question already in your mind, but do you think undercharging does more harm than good?
um, it is a nuanced question. I feel like undercharging can be a path of harm in that if the undercharging and even the term undercharging, I'm kind of sitting with that, which is why I'm kind of
Mm-hmm.
hesitating a little bit. I would say if you're charging less, but you're okay with charging less, and there's intention behind it, you ask yourself, why am I charging less? And you're very clear about that,
Mm-hmm.
then it could be okay. I see, I have clients on the sliding scale, right?
Yeah.
And so the clients that I do take that don't pay the default rate, I'm okay with that. And how am I okay with that is because the intention behind it, and I ask myself why. And so if I feel like I am undercharging, again, the term there, undercharging versus charging less, it probably means that I'm crossing my own boundaries there, right? I offer the same hour, the same quality, no matter how much a client pays, right? But if I feel like, hey, you know what, this isn't worth it, this is where I start to build a little bit of resentment. Every time I see clients and I'm undercharging, this is where I feel like, okay, there's that resentment that's going to be built up over time. My
Yeah.
relationship with this client is going to then be biased. Again, if I'm not paying close attention to what's going on for me, it's like, oh my gosh, like here's a client and they're paying sort of like like the lowest rate on the sliding scale. Oh, it's like such an exhausting hour because I'm not getting paid as much as this other person. Okay, I might try and see this person a lot less, even though I might have availability to see them. But this resentment that I've built up over time might come out in that way, in these very subtle ways, and then that's no longer ethical practice because you're no longer doing good for the client, and you may, in sort of like a worst case scenario, causing harm, right? Because you're no longer providing that objective, unbiased, counseling relationship. So I would say that again, if the term undercharging is what you would use as a label, I would say then it's probably harmful. But if you're saying, oh, I charge less, right? That isn't necessarily harmful as long as you're clear about your intention and why you're doing that, if that
Mhm.
makes sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I like how you thought deeply about this question. It's definitely a controversial question, but it's probably something that comes up
Oh,
sometimes.
I've gone through this for myself time and time and time and time again, right? So and again, a lot of discussion with your colleagues certainly helps.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Awesome. And so I think every year there's a lot of new counseling and therapy grads around the world. And a lot of new therapists sometimes worry that they'll never get clients. How real is that fear?
It's a very real fear. It's a fear that I think will generally take shape in different sizes and intensities depending on where you're at in your career and also seasonality. The fear is definitely real, right? But I think on the flip side, the fear is also a bit of a motivating factor, right? For you to kind of like head in towards a direction to find out different ways that you might be able to get more clients. Um, while the fear is real, what I can say, and again, based off of my experience, is that as long as your work is ethical, and as long as it's of a quality that you would consider to be that meets your standard of practice, the work will speak for itself.
Hmm.
And in private practice, we're in a bit of a special situation because these are clients who can continue to see you in perpetuity. As long as they want to continue to see you, as long as, again, there's still benefit to these sessions, you can have relationships that go on for years and years and years, right? And so,
Hmm.
because of that, as long as the clients want to continue to see you and as long as you're able to offer these services, there really isn't you can't really sort of like end it, right? Again, you can
Hmm.
end counseling relationships if you're not doing good. There's more harm if you continue the relationship and all that kind of stuff. But what I'm trying to say is once you have clients, right, once you onboard them and you've agreed to this relationship, you can't just say, oh, I'm too busy, I can't take you anymore. So once you give it some time, the clients will come, and it's like you can't shove toothpaste back into the tube, right?
Hmm.
So again, there's so many different types of circumstances, but as long as you're doing sort of like the work according to your standard of practice and you're being very ethical, people will speak to other people, clients will come.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's great. And so, do you have any suggestions or tips on how to get those first consistent clients?
Yeah, I think getting yourself connected to certain referral streams, right? Like employment assistance programs. This is where the because it is based off of a third party referral, the pay that counselors get usually isn't at nearly as high. But
Hmm.
there is a stream of referrals, and this is again the question of like, are is having clients and the pay is a lot is it's reduced. Is that better than having no clients? Right? For me, I reason that I'd rather get paid little money than no money. And through those streams, again, it's just kind of like you work your caseload up, people talk to other people, and then over time, it just kind of naturally fills up. And then eventually, hopefully, you get to a full caseload where you are in a position to now say, sorry, I got a wait list, right?
Hmm.
So get yourself connected to streams, referral streams like employment assistance programs. Generally, it means that you probably have to take a bit of a pay cut first, right?
Hmm.
But again, if you're just starting out and you have no clients, it's not really a pay cut, right? I think offering affordable sliding scale options definitely helps, and also availability, right? Evenings, weekends, in person. Those are all very, very attractive options for clients to want to seek you out.
Hmm.
Yeah. Not to say that if you're virtual and work only daytime that it's impossible, but it does certainly cut out like like a very big chunk of clientele that are looking for therapists.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Will.
Yeah.
And so now let's go on to more of a client lens. So, what's something that therapists wish clients understood before starting therapy?
Yeah. I think during my consultations, I pitch the process, like, what clients can expect if they were to work with myself. And I really emphasize the journey rather than the destination or outcome, right? Like, clients will come in and they'll say, yeah, I'm feeling like I'm not really connected to my partner. And this is what I hope for, right? Like I hope that, we can hang out a lot more. We can talk without getting angry at each other, like right away. All like that's perfect. That's great. We do need a destination to head into, right? But my focus is on the journey here, because when we focus on the journey and not so much on the outcome, because the outcome, I have no predictability. I can't make any promises, right? And naturally, so a lot of clients come in and they're like, this, counseling is going to fix this relationship. If I do counseling, this is all going to get better. We make no such promises, right? Um, so something that I really try to emphasize is, that is the hope. That is my hope, right? Because this is the destination that you want to head into on this journey. But what I want to emphasize is that I can't comment on the destination, but what I can give you is, this journey that we're about to go on. We're looking for change, right? And the change, eventually it'll all add up, and hopefully it'll allow us to head into that direction, to that destination that you want to head into, right? So I think, to kind of sum that up, it's something that I, as a therapist, wish that clients had a little bit more of an understanding about is, it's way more about the journey than it is about the destination. And if you're consistent with the journey, naturally we are going to head towards that destination and reach that destination, in a lot more of a likelihood. Um, I will also say that, like, it's not something, I mean, like, yeah, I do wish that clients understood this, but I actually rather enjoy it when clients come in and they're like, they have this other sort of like idea of what therapy means, because I say that I'm in the profession for myth busting, right? So clients come in, they'll have this idea that, what a therapist does, what a therapist can do, and what we are and who we are. I love sort of like gently disentangling that notion for them. A lot of counselors, they get, just tell me what to do. I'm like, that's not my job, right? So I really enjoy these conversations, because I love seeing sort of the light bulbs kind of go off for the clients, right? When they come to the realization. So yeah, I think having a bit of that understanding, it's something that, yeah, I wish that clients understood, but I also really enjoy helping them to reach that understanding.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. It's about the journey, not the destination.
Yeah.
And I think for some people, it kind of feels like, oh, I'm going to these therapy sessions, but I kind of feel the same. So, why does therapy sometimes feel like it's not working even when it is?
And that's a great question, a follow-up question, which I will tie into my previous answer, right? Which is, if you're just focused on the outcome, the destination, if that is your target for what's working, of course you're going to say, man, therapy isn't doing anything. I'm still fighting with my partner. We still get angry at each other, right? But if if a part of your focus is on the journey, I'm not saying destination and outcome is not important. It's definitely a big piece of this whole puzzle, right? But the journey is also very important. Sure, you might be still getting into arguments with your partner, right? But if you look back and look at, okay, so between, like, a month ago or 2 months ago when you came to see me versus now, today, what may be different? Well, what's different is I understand why my triggers, my sort of like hot spots for things that can make me feel angry. And when I feel angry, it comes out in this way. But it's like, okay, cool. So are you telling me that you actually have a deeper understanding of yourself? Yes. Right? So because of this difference, I would argue that we are actually headed closer towards that destination. We're not at that destination yet, but we're already several steps ahead from when you first began, right? And it is very much like a counselor's responsibility to highlight these things, right? Because if the counselors themselves are just focused on the outcome and destination, then they themselves are going to say, yeah, you know what? I don't know if this is working either, right? Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like seeing like the little steps and like the progress, the steps forward, rather than like, oh, I'm already at the top of the mountain now.
Yeah. So again, another parallel that I'll draw is folks who want to get stronger, right? So they go to the gym and they're lifting, and they're like, I want to have this new personal record for my squat.
Mm-hmm.
So they go to the gym and the goal that they want to achieve is like, I don't know, like 50 pounds heavier than their current goal. So they go to the gym, they're doing the training, they're going at it for like 2, 3 weeks a month, and they're like, oh, I still can't squat that amount that I wanted to squat back, like a couple of months ago. And it's like, does that mean that it's not working? Well, look at how much you can squat today versus back then. How much pain do you
Mhm.
feel when you squat? Okay, you feel less pain, right? How's your mobility? How's your recovery? Oh, you're telling me that it's a lot better, right? So this is the whole thing. It's like there's so many variables that I think a lot of people don't really take into consideration as like progress, right? Again, because it's very outcome, very destination focused.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. Um, as a caveat to that though, right? Because there certainly are cases where like, you look at this journey, you look at the steps, and it's like, instead of at least headed towards that direction, it feels like we're kind of going backwards, right? Or it kind of feels like we're just going in circles. That is also a possibility. And this is also up to the counselor. One of their ethical responsibilities is to sort of highlight, like, hey, is our time together actually beneficial for you? It may not be harmful, right? But if it's kind of like we are actually truly going in circles, the counselor has an ethical obligation to highlight this, to call it into session, and to discuss it with the client, right?
So, Will, if a new therapist feels stuck right now, what should they focus on this month? What is their one key takeaway?
Yeah. I know it's a broad question, but I'll kind of give a broad answer. And what's worked for me is do something different. Do something entirely different. Don't open a book. Don't look up videos or anything like that. You are a counselor, but you're also so much more, right? It's like writing a paper. If you're kind of going through a bit of a writer's block, sitting there and hammering through, it could work. But if it really isn't working, pivot to something else entirely, right? Spend time with your family, spend time with your friends, go, like, give yourself permission to watch something on TV, right? Do something else. It is I think sometimes when we get into these blocks of stuckness, whatever that may be, right? Doing something different, pivoting, can offer that reset. And it's a part of self-care. So, we are a counselor. That can be a very big part of our identity cup, but it is not our only identity. And make sure to take care of yourselves, and all your other identities and the hats that you wear in your life too.
Great answer. Thank you so much, Will. And that is the end of the podcast.